Hello everyone. Today, as always, I have three more simply amazing, fantastic horror books for you to check out. They cover several different genres, and they're all either new releases or they're going to be pre-orders. I've been reading a lot of ARCs lately, so many good ones. And I'm afraid that this summer I'm going to have to step up my uploading game. Instead of making them 5 or 6 days apart, I might have to go back to 3 because I've just got so many I've read that I can't wait to share with you. And these 3 are going to fit that bill. And just a reminder that I have horror books for sale for $1 each at the link in the description. You can join my Patreon and check out what you can get down there at the link as well. And also, if you want to pick up some merch, Horror is My Happy Place t-shirts, sweatshirts, and mugs. That link is down there as well, and it all helps to support the channel, and I appreciate it. All right, let's get started. So our first book today is called Camp Lanier. And oh man, this one's got slasher vibes all over it, but it's got so much more going on. It's one of those stories that it's set in a camp with deep, dark secrets. A lot of really terrifying things happen, you know. It sucks you in right away, and it just won't let you go. This concerns our black protagonist, a teenage girl. She has plans. She has goals. She's very smart. But she's in an almost all-white prep school kind of deal. And she finds herself hanging out with the wrong crowd. She's hanging out with a bunch of mean girls, you know. They like to bully people. They pick on people. Sometimes they say things to her that are really kind of racist, but they always just say, you know, we're just joking. Don't be such a wimp about it. And you know how that goes. But they are her friends. They're the only friends she really has at this school, and she doesn't want to disappoint them. And one day they decide to let her in on a little tradition they have where every year around the same time they go to the local mall and they steal something from one of the shops there, one of the stores. She's a very good person. She was raised correctly and she does not want to do this, but she doesn't want to lose her only friend she has. She doesn't want them to think that she's chicken or anything. So she decides to go along with it, but she wants to keep it small. They all walk in together and she just kind of steals a little thing of lip gloss, thinking she did it, that should be enough. But she is the only one that gets caught by security when she's leaving the store. And pretty soon she finds out that the people she thought were her friends have basically ghosted her, and they put all of it on her. Everything they stole, they said she stole. Like, she stole all this stuff. And the dollar amount of all that stuff means that now she is facing a very long time in jail because of her crime, which means her future is dashed to pieces. All her hopes and dreams going down the drain because of this one stupid but accidental mistake, you know. But the judge gives her another option. They have a deal with this Camp Lanier for trouble, and this camp takes in troubled youths to work the summer at their camp, and if she can go there and fulfill her obligations in a satisfactory manner, her record will be expunged as if it's never happened. She won't have to go to jail, and she can still fulfill all her hopes and dreams. So obviously there's not really much of a choice. Spend a long time in jail with a record now, or just go to this camp and help out for the summer. But when she gets there, she's going to find out this camp is unlike any other. There's something terribly wrong. A bunch of children have gone missing from the camp. The people that own it aren't necessarily nice and sweet to these youths that are in trouble that they get. They consider them basically just criminals, but they get money for providing them this opportunity, so they don't want to rock the boat there. But there are other secrets going on. Pretty soon she starts hearing screams in the middle of the night. She starts seeing things out of the corner of her eye, but only she can see them. And then there's also a slasher, a serial killer roaming around the woods, and bodies are going to start piling up. And it becomes something completely different. But what's the most horrifying is the lake that it sits on. There is something under the lake. Nobody likes to swim in that lake, and there's a reason why. There's something under there, something much more horrific than all this other stuff going on, something that wants vengeance. And I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to give anything away, but it's based on a real life event, and it is truly horrifying. Yeah, this one's just fantastic. It's got all these spooky things going on. It's got a great protagonist that you're going to love, you're going to get behind, you're going to have sympathy for. We're going to meet a whole bunch of other characters, and of course that serial killer that's going to be stalking them through the woods. We're going to find out about that, and we're going to find out all the deep, dark secrets about this camp and why all these children are missing along the way. It's just, it's got all of that going on all at once, and it's written in a style that's easy to read, easy to get into. It's seriously one of those books, you know, that you just don't want to put down, and I didn't. I read it fairly quickly because I was that intrigued, and it's one I highly recommend to you. And there is a link down below where you can pick up your copy in the description, and I highly recommend it. And next we have Hollow Tongue. Even though this author's last name is Royce, which happens to be my last name, we are not related. I just wanted to make that clear. Unless you count, like, she writes excellent horror, and I love reading excellent horror. So maybe that way we're kind of spiritually connected through the horror fiction genre, maybe. But this is from Eden Royce. It's a novella. And this one is going to take you on an unexpected places at the end. And this is, again, about a black female protagonist. And she was involved in a shooting. It left scars on her, especially her leg. She has to walk with a cane most of the time. She has unbearable pain in her leg if she either sits for too long or is standing on it for too long. And she has been separated from her parents for a while. When she was 18, her mother pushed her out of the house, basically. Her mother kind of helped her escape because her father was very abusive, both mentally and emotionally, to her and her mother. He never hit them, but he got to drinking, and they could see that that kettle was about to blow. And so her mother, instead of leaving with her, decided to take the brunt of it and sent her off. They made a plan and sent her off as soon as she turned 18 to live on her own. One day she gets a letter from a bank back in her hometown saying that there's a safety deposit box in the name of her and her mother that hasn't been paid in a long time, and if it's not paid in full, the contents are going to be taken out and sold or auctioned or thrown away. Now she has no idea what's in that box, but it gives her hope because her mother was not like that. Her mother always paid the bills. And so she thinks because this box hasn't been paid, that means finally her mother escaped her father. And so she's kind of happy about that. She's not looking forward to going back to her home where she grew up to confront her father, but she's going to do it. She's an adult now, and she has some things she wants to get off her chest. But when she gets there, nobody's home. There's no sign of her father at all. So she thinks he's just gone. The house looks the same, almost the same as it did when she left. It's a little bit dustier. There might be some black mold and stuff crawling around in the corners, which is kind of strange because normally it was kept clean. But, you know, her mother had left, so she assumed her father is just kind of letting it go. But a couple days later, still no word. No word from her mother. No word from her father. And inside the safety deposit box, she's going to find some drawings her mother made. And we'll find out what kind of drawings they are and what her mother did during the course of this book. But again, if I give it away, that's going to be giving away too much. So you have to find that out for yourself. But there's some things in there. And just when you think you know where this novella is going, you think it's going to be some kind of haunted house story, or perhaps the mother killed the father and maybe he's buried somewhere before she left. Yeah, those are all the things I was thinking, but it's not. It's something much more terrifying going on. And that ending, man, it just it's like a 1-2 sucker punch, man. It gets you. And if you're scared of certain things, and again, I can't say what, but if there are certain things that scare you, a certain thing I'm thinking of, maybe you can read my mind, but this book is going to absolutely terrify you because it's told in such a way, and the way she presents it, especially right there at the end, it's just fantastic. I absolutely love this book. Like I said, it's a novella. It won't take you long to read, but you'll be instantly in that world. And you want to find out the mystery. What happened to her mother? What did happen to her father? What does the ingredients of this safety deposit box, what does it mean? We're going to find all that out, and it is truly horrifying. Again, this is one I highly recommend, and you can pick up your copy right now at the link in the description, and you should. And last but certainly not least, we have the devil's final offer. This one is great. From the very first page, you're going to be into this story. There's a young man, he's rich, he's powerful, he's kind of an asshole. Like, he doesn't care about anybody else. He's stepping over people's heads. He's the vice president of his father's company, but he's trying to manipulate the situation to take it from his father, spreading rumors about his father, even though they're not true, just so that he can obtain more wealth and more power. But when we first meet him, his body is laying on the desert ground after being beaten and shot like 10, 15 times. He crossed the wrong people. And they brought him out to the desert and basically tried to kill him. But he's standing over his body looking at it on the ground. And he is not injured. And he's wondering how this can be until a voice calls out to him. And when he turns around, there's a man in a nice suit, slick back hair, shiny shoes, just sitting underneath a crop of rocks, out of the sun. And yes, it's the devil. It's the devil himself. And the devil's going to make this man an offer, an age-old offer, one you've heard before, but trust me, this book will take you to some very dark places. And that offer is, I can restore your body. Your body's not actually dead yet. And you have until your body dies to make your decision, but I can restore it. You'll have more power, you'll have more wealth, you can live a lot longer here on the earth, of course, in exchange for your soul at the end when you finally die. That's the devil's offer to this man. The man thinks he's smarter than the devil, and they're going to have a conversation, and the man wants to know what he can expect in hell, because this is for eternity. For the rest of eternity, where time means nothing, he is going to be, he assumes, tortured and in great pain forever and ever and ever. So he kind of convinces the devil to give him a glimpse into hell, and the devil obliges. And once they get down there, we are going to be exposed to some of the most gruesome, deliciously disgusting, extreme horrors that you've ever read in a horror book. I mean, this thing is bloody and gruesome and bleak as the devil takes him through some of the punishments he might get or might not. The devil will not say exactly what his eternal punishment will be in exchange for his life here on earth. But we're going to see some scenarios that are just so fantastically gross and dripping with blood and gore and intestines and decapitations and forms of torture that this author came up with that are just unique and will just absolutely make you cringe with disgust in a good way, of course. And all through this book, it is a novel, but it's a shorter novel, and all the way through, this author inserts this really dark sense of humor that will give you a little bit of comedic relief in between all those scenes of torture and gore, like coming up when you think you're drowning for a breath of air and catching that breath before plunging you back down into the depths. This author is really good at that. And as the story progresses, we're going to find out some things about how hell works and things like that. Yeah, I don't want to give too much else away, but there is a twist at the end that you probably won't see coming. And it's just fantastic. This is one of those books that sets it up perfectly. Starts out in the desert with a man looking over his own body. The devil gives him an option. And then we're just faced with all of these torturous scenes down in the pits of hell that he rules over. And if there's one thing the devil doesn't like, we'll find out. He does not like to be bored, and he is very good at coming up with creative ways to torture those souls that are sent to him. And it is just simply fantastic. I absolutely love this one. And, as always, there is a pre-order link where you can pick up your copy, and that link will be in the description. And I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.